You open the chat. The last message sits, unanswered, days old. The screen glows. Your finger hovers. You wait. Again, the urge to text pulls, to explain, to fix. You type a line. Delete it. Type again. The loop runs. Silent. Unseen. Each check, each refresh, a thread tightens. You think it's control. It's not. What if waiting is the trap? You assume they'll answer, that words will shift their silence. But each moment spent watching, hoping, buries you deeper. The mind spins. The chest tightens. Yet nothing changes. The cost isn't just time. Each glance at the screen, each unsent message, erodes something deeper. A fracture grows quiet, unnoticed. You lose not them, but the ground beneath you. Emptiness isn't their absence. It's your refusal to see. Epictetus said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The chain isn't theirs, it's yours. A signal, not a sentence. You hold it, or it holds you. When did you decide? Their silence defines you. You think chasing proves strength, but what if it's just clinging? Look closer. The loop isn't new. It's the same reflex, dressed in new pain. The pause begins now. Something shifts, not in them, but in you. You think explaining will break their silence. A message, a call, a reason. It feels like power. You draft the words, perfect them, send. The screen stays dark. You wait, refresh, wait again. It's logical, isn't it? If you show care, if you clarify, they'll see, they'll respond. But what if explaining is the cage? Each word you send, each plea, builds the walls higher. You think you're reaching out. You're not. You're chasing. The more you push, the deeper the void. The logic collapses, not because they don't hear, but because you don't stop. What remains when you stop explaining? The urge burns, the fingers itch, the mind races, but the truth waits, cold, still. You don't control their silence. You control the pause. The room quiets, the phone dims. What now? Cut 1. Chasing explanations. You draft a message, words sharp, precise. You explain why it hurts, why they're wrong, why you deserve a reply. The cursor blinks. You hit send. The screen stays blank. You check again. Nothing. The urge to send another rises, to clarify, to fix. It feels right, doesn't it? To make them see, to pull them back. Each word you type, each plea, seems like control. It's not. It's chasing. A reflex. Old. Worn. You think explaining will crack their silence, will prove your worth. But every message sent tightens a loop. The more you explain, the deeper the pain. Not because they don't hear, but because you don't stop. The mind spins, replaying their last words, their last look. Each attempt to justify, to be seen, carves a hollow. You lose, not them, but your own presence. The cost isn't their reply. It's the ground you surrender while begging for theirs. Seneca said, "You have power over your mind, not external events." Their silence isn't your sentence. It's a signal, not a chain. Explaining doesn't free you. It binds you to their choice, their absence, their void. Stop. Pause. Let the urge burn. Let the fingers itch. But don't type. Turn the screen off. Breathe. The loop doesn't end until you do. You don't need their answer to see clearly. Detach from the need to be heard. Step back, not to win, but to hold your own line. The silence isn't theirs to break. It's yours to hold. You don't owe anything. The reflex to chase fades when you see it for what it is. A pull, not a path. Cut 2. Checking messages. The phone sits, silent, dark. You unlock it. Swipe to their name. The chat loads. Last message. Yours. Read. No reply. You scroll up. Old words. Old promises. The screen pulls. You linger. Just one more check. Maybe they typed. Maybe they're there. The habit feels small, harmless. A glance, a refresh. What's the harm? You're staying connected, aren't you? Keeping the thread alive. But each check feeds a loop. The emptiness doesn't come from their silence. It comes from your gaze. Every swipe, every scroll builds a cage. Not around them, around you. The mind replays what was said, what wasn't. The heart sinks, not because they're gone, but because you're still there. Waiting, watching, clinging. The cost isn't the moment spent. It's the presence you lose, staring at a void that doesn't speak. A man sits, phone in hand, screen dim. He scrolls, pauses, locks it. The room stays quiet. He breathes. You don't need to see their name to see yourself. Not checking isn't surrender. It's a cut. Turn the phone face down, let the screen go black. Step back. The urge will claw. The mind will pull. But you hold the line. Their silence isn't your mirror. You are. Silence isn't surrender. The weight lifts when you stop looking. Cut 3. Holding onto hope. The mind clings to a maybe. They'll text, they'll call, they'll return. You see their face, hear their voice in moments that no longer exist. A door half open. You stand at the threshold. It feels like strength, doesn't it? To hold on, to keep the possibility alive. Each thought of tomorrow, each flicker of hope seems like a bridge to them, to what was. You tell yourself, it's not over, not yet. But hope blindly is a weight. Every maybe you carry sinks you deeper, not into their arms, but into loss. The door isn't open, it's locked. You don't wait for them, you wait for a ghost. The mind spins, crafting futures that never come. The heart aches, not for their absence, but for the void you feed. Each hope, a brick in a wall, built by you, trapping you. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The door is shut, the key is yours. Let go, not to lose, but to walk away. Drop the maybe. Let the thought dissolve. Release. The urge will pull. The heart will resist. But you step forward. A locked gate. A path beyond. You turn. The wind moves. You don't look back. You don't need their return to find your ground. Detach, and the door no longer matters. Let go isn't weakness. The path clears when you stop waiting. Cut 4. Reacting to silence. The phone stays dark. No notification, no sound. You feel it. The pull. The urge to text, to call, to break the quiet. It rises, sharp, heavy. Why haven't they answered? The question loops. The chest tightens. You want to act, to push back, to fill the void. It feels urgent, doesn't it? To react, to make something happen, to prove you're still there, to still seen. The silence stings, and you move to drown it. But every action builds a chain. The more you push, the tighter it grips. Not their silence, but your shame. Each text sent, each call made, doesn't reach them. It buries you. The mind races, replaying the quiet, inventing reasons. The heart sinks, not because they're gone, but because you chase their shadow. The cost isn't their reply. It's the stillness you lose running from the void. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens, but how you react to it." Their silence is a signal, not a command. Pause. Let the urge burn. Let the mind scream, but don't move. Breathe. Slow. Deep. Stay still. The quiet isn't your enemy. It's your ground. Text now, the voice whispers. No, you answer. Wait. You don't need to fill the silence to know your worth. Non-reaction is your anchor. You don't have to react. The quiet holds. When you hold it too. Cut 5. Suppressing pain. You feel it. The ache. The weight. Their silence cuts. Deep. Raw. You push it down. Bury it. Clench your jaw. Scroll past the pain. Keep moving. Work. Gym. Noise. Anything to drown it. It feels like control, doesn't it? To suppress. To lock the pain away. You tell yourself, it's gone. You're fine. The surface stays calm. The mask holds. No one sees. No one knows. But suppressing builds a shadow. The pain doesn't vanish. It festers. Each time you shove it down, it grows. Not in their absence, but in your silence. The mind numbs. The chest tightens. The numbness spreads. You don't escape the wound, you deepen it. The cost isn't the feeling, it's the awareness you lose, hiding from what's there. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The pain is real, but it's not your chain. Witness it, don't bury it. Sit with it. Breathe through. Don't run. Observe. The ache is a signal, not a sentence. Let it pass. Without pushing, without holding. 85% of suppressed emotions resurface as regret or rage. You don't need to hide the pain to stand steady. Non-reaction is seeing it clearly. Pain doesn't mean truth. The weight shifts when you stop fighting it. Cut 6. Begging for attention. You feel the pull. Their silence stings. You want their eyes, their words, their presence. You reach out. A text, a call, a subtle post. Notice me. It says, without saying. You frame it as care, as effort. It feels necessary, doesn't it? To please, to keep their gaze. You adjust your words, your tone, your time. Anything to spark a reply, to feel seen again. But begging weaves a trap. Each plea, each gesture doesn't draw them closer. It pushes you further into shame. The more you seek their attention, the less you hold your own. The mind bends, crafting ways to be noticed. The heart sinks, not from their distance, but from your invisible surrender. You don't win their focus, you lose your centered ground. Epictetus said, "No person is free who is not master of themselves. Their attention isn't your chain, your need is. Refrain. Let the urge to speak rise, let the want burn, but don't move. Saying less is your shield. Stand still. Breathe. Hold your own weight. You don't need their gaze to exist. Disengage, and the trap dissolves. Detachment is a form of respect. The stillness grows when you stop reaching. Cut 7. Reliving memories. The mind drifts to a moment. Their voice, their laugh, a shared glance. You see it clearly. The coffee shop, the late night talk. You replay it, frame by frame. It feels warm, doesn't it? To attack, to hold those seconds close. You tell yourself, it's just a memory, just a thought, harmless. You linger, let it loop, let it live. It keeps them near, or so it seems. But reliving is a chain. Each memory you clutch doesn't bring them back. It pulls you under, into regret. The more you replay, the heavier the weight. The mind traps you, not in the past, but in loss. The heart aches, not for what was, but for what you won't release. You don't keep the moment. You lose the presence of now. Marcus Aurelius said, "The present is the only thing we can possess. The past is gone. The memory is yours to drop. Break loop. Let the image fade. Let the sound dissolve. Release. The urge will tug. The mind will cling. But you step away. A photo sits, unopened, in a folder." She closes the app. The screen goes dark. You don't need the past to stand here. UNHO oak, and the moment clears. The void is where it clears. The now returns when you let go. Cut 8. Avoiding truth. You turn away from the quiet. Their silence sits, heavy, real. You dodge it. Scroll the feed. Play the music. Fill the air. Anything to blur the edge. It feels easier, doesn't it? To Denny. To pretend it's not there. You tell yourself, they're busy. They'll come back. The story spins. Soft. Safe. You keep the truth at bay, just for now. But avoiding builds a shadow. The truth doesn't fade. It waits. Each distraction, each excuse tightens the grip, not of their absence, but of fear. The mind weaves lies to shield you. The heart numbs, not from their choice, but from your refusal to see. You don't escape the silence. You deepen the isolation. Seneca said, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The truth is a blade, not a chain. Observe it. Face the quiet. Let it cut. Don't run. Witness. The fear will rise. The mind will flinch. But you stand." 60% of ignored truths resurface as regret within a year. You don't need to hide to stay whole. Concise. Sight breaks the shadow. Pain doesn't mean truth. The clarity comes when you stop running. Cut 9. Explaining to others. You sit with a friend. Words spill. You tell the story. Their silence. Your pain. You justify. You analyze. You trace every moment. Why they left. What you did. What they meant. It feels necessary, doesn't it? To explain. To make sense of the void. You lay it out, piece by piece. Seeking nods. Seeking clarity. The words flow. The story grows. You think it helps. But explaining builds a cage. Each retelling doesn't free you. It binds you to their absence, to anxiety. The more you speak, the tighter the loop. The mind churns, replaying the same scenes. The heart sinks, not from their choice, but from your need to be understood. You don't find answers, you lose stillness. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Their silence isn't your story to tell. Saying less is your shield. Let the urge to speak rise, let the words form, but hold them. Withdraw. The truth doesn't need an audience, it needs you. A man listens. He nods. You stop mid-sentence. The room quiets. You breathe. You don't need their understanding to stand firm. Silence cuts the loop. You can end without drama. The weight falls when you stop telling. Cut 10. Waiting for replies. The screen sits blank. Still. You check it. Once. Twice. More. No dots. No reply. You tell yourself they'll answer soon. You keep the phone close. Glance at it. Wait. It feels like patience, doesn't it? To hold on. To stay ready. You think waiting shows care, shows strength. The minutes tick. The hours stretch. You stay tethered. But waiting is a trap. Each glance, each check doesn't bring them closer. It pulls you deeper into isolation. The mind loops, crafting their response, their reason. The heart sinks, not from their silence, but from your refusal to move. You don't gain their words, you lose your ground. Marcus Aurelius said, "The present is all you have. Don't let it slip." Their reply isn't your anchor. Your presence is. Withdraw. Put the phone down, let the screen fade. Step back. The urge will pull. The silence will sting. But you hold steady. Waiting isn't care. It's a choice. And you can choose to stop. You don't need their words to be whole. Dedic. And the tether breaks. Stillness is enough. The moment clears when you stop watching. Cut 11. Escaping through distraction. The silence lands. Heavy. Sharp. You reach for the phone. Not to check, but to flee. Scroll the feed. Open a game. Turn on noise. Anything to blur the edge. Their absence looms. And you run. It feels safer, doesn't it? To escape. To drown the quiet. You tell yourself, it's just a break. Just a moment. The screen lights up. The world hums. You slip away. But escaping tightens a loop. Each swipe, each click doesn't erase the loss. It buries you deeper. The mind numbs, dodging the truth. The heart races, not from their absence, but from your refusal to face it. You don't outrun the void, you widen it. The cost isn't the time spent, it's the awareness you trade for noise. Seneca said, "No person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have. The pain is there, don't flee it. Sit with it! Turn off the screen. Let the noise fade. Observe. The urge to scroll will surge, but you stay." A woman closes her app. The room stills. She breathes. You don't need distraction to stand steady. Conscious presence cuts the escape. Not doing is power too. The truth waits when you stop running. Cut 12. Overthinking their reasons. Their silence sits. A blank wall. You stare, and the mind spins. Why did they leave? What did you say? What didn't you do? You trace every word, every glance, every pause. It feels productive, doesn't it? To overthink, to find the reason. You build a story, a map of their mind. If you understand, You can fix it. You can bring them back. But overthinking is a maze. Each question, each theory doesn't lead to them. It traps you in anxiety. The more you search, the less you see. The mind churns, crafting answers that don't exist. The heart sinks, not from their choice, but from your refusal to stop. You don't find clarity, you lose ground. Epictetus said, "There is only one way to happiness, to cease worrying about things beyond our power. Their reasons aren't your chain, your thoughts are." Pause. Let the questions rise. Let the mind pull, but don't follow. Step back. The truth doesn't need your map. It needs your presence. You don't need their why to move forward. Detach, and the maze dissolves. You don't have to react. The stillness holds when you stop searching. Cut 13. Pleading for closure. You feel the void. Their silence burns. You want answers, a reason, an end. You draft a message, long, careful. Just tell me why. You write. You send. Wait. Check. It feels like a step, doesn't it? To please, to seek closure. You think their words will settle it, will free you. You reach out one more time to close the door. But pleading locks the door tighter. Each ask, each word doesn't bring answers. It deepens loss. The more you beg, the further you drift. Not from them, but from self-command. The mind loops, craving their reply. The heart aches, not for their absence, but for your surrender. You don't gain closure. You lose your stillness. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Their silence isn't your puzzle. Your need is. Refrain. Let the urge to ask rise. Let the words form, but don't send. Saying less is your anchor. Breathe. Slow. Steady. "Send it," the voice urges. "No," you reply. "Enough." You don't need their reasons to walk away. Disengage. And the door opens. Silence isn't surrender. The freedom comes when you stop asking. Cut 14. Hiding from silence. The quiet lands. Stark. Heavy. You turn away. Fast. Music. On. Screen. Lit. Voices. Loud. Anything to fill the gap. Their absence looms, and you run. It feels safer, doesn't it? To avoid, to bury the pain, you tell yourself, it's just noise, just a moment. The world hums, the silence fades. You think you're free, but avoiding weaves a cage. Each sound, each distraction doesn't erase the void. It grows. The more you hide, the deeper it sinks. Not their silence, but your fear. The mind drowns, chasing noise. The heart numbs, not from their choice, but from your refusal to face it. You don't outrun the quiet. You lose your ground. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nowhere can a man find a quieter retreat than in his own soul." The silence isn't your enemy. Your flight is. Sit with it. Turn off the sound. Let the room still. Observe. The fear will rise. The urge will pull. But you stay. A man sits, earbuds out. The quiet settles. He breathes slow, steady. You don't need noise to stand whole. Presents, cuts the cage. The void is where it clears. The truth speaks when you stop hiding. Cut 15. Clinging to their shadow. The name flashes. A post, a story. You pause, you click. Their life unfolds. A glimpse, a fragment. You hold it close. Their smile, their world. It feels like connection, doesn't it? To cling, to keep them near. You tell yourself, it's just a look, just a moment. You watch, you linger, you stay. But slinging builds a prison. Each glance, each scroll doesn't bring them back. It chains you to loss. The more you watch, the deeper the emptiness. The mind loops, chasing their shadow. The heart aches, not for their absence, but for your refusal to let go. You don't hold them. You lose your centered ground. Epictetus said, "What disturbs men's minds is not events, but their judgments. Their shadow isn't your anchor. Your gaze is. Not checking is your cut. Close the app. Let the screen dim. Withdraw. The urge will pull. The heart will resist. But you step away." A woman locks her phone. The room darkens. She stands still. You don't need their shadow to be whole. Detach, and the prison fades. Let go isn't weakness. The light returns. When you stop chasing. Cut 16, hoping for their return. The thought flickers. They'll come back. A message, a call, a sign. You see it, clear, vivid. Their voice, their steps, their warmth. You hold the hope tight, safe. It feels like faith, doesn't it? To hope blindly, to keep the door ajar. You tell yourself, it's possible. It's not over. The vision loops. You wait. You believe. But hoping is a chain. Each dream, each maybe, doesn't draw them closer. It binds you to regret. The more you hope, the deeper the void. The mind crafts futures that never arrive. The heart aches, not for their absence, but for your refusal to see. You don't keep them near. You lose your presence. Seneca said, "You must cease hoping to be free of fear. Their return isn't your anchor. Your hope is. Release. Let the vision fade. Let the maybe dissolve. Step back. The urge will pull. The heart will cling. But you stand still." 70% of those who wait regret the time spent, not the loss. You don't need their return to move forward. Detac, and the chain breaks. Stillness is enough. The path opens when you stop hoping. Cut 17. Justifying their silence. Their silence stretches, cold, vast. You build a case. They're busy. They're hurt. They need time. You weave reasons, layer by layer. It feels logical, doesn't it? To explain, to make their absence fit. You tell yourself, it's not you, it's them. The story grows. The mind settles. You think it softens the pain. But justifying is a trap. Each excuse, each reason, doesn't lighten the load. It buries you in HT. The more you explain, the tighter the loop. The mind spins, crafting their truth. The heart sinks, not from their silence, but from your refusal to see. You don't solve their absence, you lose your ground, Epictetus said. Don't seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do. Their silence isn't your puzzle, Your story is. Pause. Let the reasons rise. Let the mind pull. But don't build. Saying less is your shield. Breathe. Slow. Clear. A man sits, his thoughts quiet. The story stops. He stands. The room stills. You don't need their reasons to be whole. Detach, and the trap dissolves. You don't owe anything. The truth clears when you stop explaining. Cut 18. Chasing their validation, their silence cuts sharp, deep. You want their nod, their approval, their seeing. You post, you act, you wait for a like, a comment, a sign. It feels vital, doesn't it? To chase, to earn their gaze. You shape your words, your moves, to fit their eyes. You think their validation will fill the void. You reach, you try, you hope, but chasing builds a cage. Each effort, each gesture doesn't win their approval. It traps you in shame. The more you seek, the further you fall. Not from their absence, but from your own, centered ground. The mind bends, craving their nod. The heart aches, not for their silence, but for your surrender. You don't gain their validation, you lose your presence. Marcus Aurelius said, "The approval of others is not in your control. Their gaze isn't your mirror. Your self-command is." Refrain. Let the urge to perform rise. Let the need burn. But don't move. Withdraw. Stand still. Breathe. Hold your own weight. A woman pauses, her post unsent. The screen dims. She breathes. Steady. Clear. You don't need their eyes to stand tall. Detach, and the cage opens. Detachment is a form of respect. The ground holds when you stop seeking. Cut 19. Replaying their words. Their last message sits frozen, sharp. You read it again, again. Each word cuts. You dissect it. What did they mean? Why that tone? You trace the letters, the pauses, the gaps. It feels necessary, doesn't it? To overthink, to crack their code. You think understanding will ease the pain. You linger. You analyze. You stay. But replaying is a chain. Each read, each thought doesn't solve their silence. It binds you to regret. The more you dive, the deeper the void. The mind loops, chasing meaning that isn't there. The heart sinks, not from their words, but from your refusal to let go. You don't find answers. You lose your ground. Epictetus said, "What disturbs us is not what happens, but our thoughts about it. Their words aren't your anchor. Your focus is. Not checking is your cut." Close the chat. Let the screen fade. Step back. The urge will pull. The mind will claw. But you stand still. A man sits. The message unread. He locks the phone. The quiet settles. He breathes. You don't need their meaning to move forward. Detach, and the chain dissolves. You can end without drama. The clarity comes when you stop reading. Cut 20. Holding on to their absence. Their silence lingers. A shadow, cold. You carry it in your chest. Your thoughts. You keep their absence close. A weight, you know. It feels familiar, doesn't it? To hold on. To let their void define you. You tell yourself it's proof of care, of depth. You wear the pain. Let it settle. Let it stay. But holding is a cage. Each moment you clutch doesn't keep them near. It traps you in isolation. The more you carry, the heavier the loss. The mind loops, replaying their absence. The heart aches, not for their silence, but for your refusal to release. You don't preserve them. You lose your presence. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Their absence isn't your chain. Your grip is. Let go. Let the weight fall. Let the shadow fade. Withdraw. The urge will pull. The heart will resist. But you breathe. Slow. Clear. A woman stands. The phone untouched. The room stills. She walks. The weight lifts. You don't need their absence to be whole. Detach, and the cage opens. Not doing is power too. The ground holds when you stop carrying. The phone rests, screen black, hands still. The room hums, soft, empty. No sound, no light, just breath. The urge to check, to text, to chase fades. Not gone, but quiet. You sit, alone, steady. A moment held, a reflex stopped. The silence wasn't filled, wasn't fought. It was seen, clear, raw. You didn't run, didn't explain, didn't cling. The void didn't swallow you. You stood within it. That stillness, was it weakness or presence? The weight lifts, not because they spoke, but because you didn't. Silence is a choice, heavy, true.